Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round one of this year's Formula One World Championship. We go racing today around the 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have a Mercedes, Sainz, Valtteri Bottas and Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Ocon and Pierre Gasly, Perez, they've taken a grid penalty, Tsunoda, Kevin Magnussen and Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, Joe, Sebastian Vettel and Alex Albon, Latifi and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. So here we are in 2022 at the start of another Formula One World Championship. It all begins here, the start of the next generation of Formula One. With the end of the second turbocharged era, a new dawn begins. New regulations have been brought in to promote better racing, with the 2 big standout changes being the wheel size increase and the aerodynamics on the car itself. But will this result in us having a repeat fight for the Driver Championship? Will Mercedes retain their Constructors' title? We have lots to discuss then with Anthony Davidson, who's joined me in the commentary box for today's event.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Let's hope for some good racing today as well. We can't know at this point how competitive the teams are relative to each other, but hopefully nobody's able to run and hide. We want to see these drivers pushing to the limit all the way to the checkered flag.
Watch your pace. We've been informed the safety car is out. There appears to have been an issue with multiple stock vehicles on the track. Okay, we're coming up to the safety car now. Do not pass it, you are the leader. Follow the safety car. car is in this lap. Safety car in this lap. You'll be controlling the pace on the restart. Keep it steady until the safety car's reached the pit lane. Green flag. Try to stay with them. They might make a mistake and we could still regain the position. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 6.8 seconds. Verstappen's behind. Okay, the gap behind is 1.4 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. And that's 6 laps until your pit window's open. Okay, 50 laps to go. the gap to the car ahead is 5.6 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Okay, they've done 10 laps on those tyres. We think they've got one more stop. Your last lap time was a 1:41.2. Okay, be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon. Approaching the pit window now, and you're going to be on hards next time. Pitting this lap then, coming to the pits at the end of this lap. Ahead of you, and gap to the car in front is 4.9 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 12 laps old. We think they've got one more stop, and the time last lap was a 1:41.8. Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please. that stop wasn't great, we've lost some time there. Look after these tyres now and want to finish the race on this compound. Okay, we can take you this lap. It's Latifi ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 2.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old softs. Their tyres are 13 laps old. Okay, we think they've got 2 stops remaining. Time last lap was a 1:44.0. Front is 7.5 seconds. And the gap behind us is 9.4 seconds. The gap is less than a second. Okay, they're on fresh hards. They've done 14 laps on those tyres now. We think they've got one more stop. The last lap time was a 1:43.2. catching the car ahead, but remember, we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres. We're increasing our gap on the car behind by around a second a lap. Is ahead of you, and gap to the car in front is 2.7 seconds. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 17 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1:42.8. 1.2 seconds advantage per lap. Keep going. Understood. Stopping this lap. Great manoeuvre, you made it look so easy. Norris just ahead, push for the position. Okay, gap ahead is 1.3 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Their tyres are 18 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. Time last lap was a 1:42.8. You're closing in by 3 seconds a lap. Front is 5.7 seconds. Okay, this is Mark. I need you to stop cutting the corners. If you keep it up, the stewards are going to give you a penalty. Sainz is ahead of you. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 4.0 seconds. They're on old mediums. Norris behind. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 3.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. The distance to the leader is 20.8 seconds. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. 37 laps to go. Okay, you're creating some breathing space between you and the car behind by a few seconds a lap. Really good stuff. To the car in front is 3.6 seconds. That's P7 now, P7, Sainz ahead. Okay, gap ahead is 3.6 seconds. They're on old mediums. Norris is behind you. Our gap behind is 4.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Okay, gap to leader, 20.4 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. We're currently trailing our teammate by 4.4 seconds. Sainz is ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 3.1 seconds. They're on old mediums. They've done 21 laps on those tyres. We think they've got one more stop. Your last lap time was a 1:41.7. Ahead. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 1.6 seconds. They're on old mediums. they've got one more stop. And the time last lap was a 1 minute 42.7. Separates you. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 9 laps old. They seem to have an issue. Time last lap was a 1:42.8. You're gaining by 1.6 seconds a lap. Okay, you're within 1 second of the car ahead. Get ready to use DRS for the overtake. Ahead. And gap to the car in front is 3.9 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 9 laps old. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 41.7. Alright, you're falling back by 1/10 a lap. Worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. Rainfall expected today, we think it'll stay dry. Okay, dry seems like the best tyre for now. Okay, gap ahead is 3.0 seconds. There are 34 laps of fuel remaining. less than a second. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 12 laps old, and the time last lap was a 1:41.1. Right, you're closing in by around 1.4 seconds a lap. Behind is lapping faster than us by around a second a lap. Behind you. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Their tyres are 13 laps old. Time last lap was a 1:41.3. Our gap to the car in front is 13.0 seconds. Tyre condition still looking good. Gap to the car ahead is 11.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Their tyres are 16 laps old. Your last lap time was a 1:40.6. Right, you're closing in by around 1.4 seconds a lap. ahead of you, and gap to the car in front is 11.6 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres, and the time last lap was a 1 minute 40.6. Right, you're closing in by around 1.4 seconds a lap. Okay, you've got P3, well done. It's Verstappen ahead. Okay, gap ahead is 10.8 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Leclerc behind. Okay, the gap behind is 3.5 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Our gap to first place is 16.1 seconds. Look after these tyres now, we want to finish the race on this compound. And 26 laps to go now. Front is 10.6 seconds. Verstappen's ahead of you. Okay, gaps on the car ahead is 9.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Their tyres are 18 laps old. Time last lap was a 1:40.5. Okay, so you're gaining by around 0.6 a lap. Behind starting to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form. Let's make the most of it. You're in second place. It's Verstappen ahead, and gap to the car in front is 8.6 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Leclerc is behind you, and the gap behind us is 5.5 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go. 24 laps to go. Verstappen's ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 11.2 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Leclerc behind. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 2.5 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now, and that's 23 laps to go. Is behind you. Our gap behind is 2.3 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Their tyres are 20 laps old. Your last lap time was a 1 minute 39.9. place, you're in second place. It's Verstappen ahead. Our gap to the car in front is 10.1 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Leclerc behind. Okay, the gap behind is 2.3 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound. 21 laps to go. Behind is 8.8 seconds. Verstappen's ahead of you. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 9.8 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. And the time last lap was a 1:40.3. Tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. The car behind is dropping back by about 0.3 a lap. Well done. well done. Okay, you're sat in P2, it's Verstappen ahead, and gap to the car in front is 7.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres, Leclerc behind, and the gap behind us is 5.7 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres, your pit window is open, pit window currently open. Alright, 16 laps to go. Catching the car ahead, well done, but be aware these tyres need to get us to the end of this race. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 7.7 seconds. Leclerc is ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 3.3 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Okay, they're on 28 lap old tyres. Time last lap was at 1 minute 40.0. That was the fastest lap of the race so far. Gap to the car in front is 2.4 seconds. car ahead is 1.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Car behind is Lewis. Okay, so the gap to the car behind is 10.0 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Okay, so gap to the leader is 14.7 seconds. Your pit window's now open. Pit window is open. 13 laps to go. Okay, you've got P3, well done. Leclerc is ahead of you, and gap to the car in front is 2.8 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. That's Lewis behind you. Our gap behind is 12.6 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. The distance to the leader is 14.1 seconds. The pit window is open, pit window currently open. Okay, 12 laps to go. Okay, gap ahead is 1.8 seconds. Dropping due to wear, so don't be too aggressive. Okay, that stop was a slower time than we ideally wanted to see. Up to speed now, let's get some heat into those tyres. We're in P4, and that's Lewis ahead. Our gap to the car in front is 8.0 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. That's Science behind you now. Okay, the gap behind is 14.3 seconds. Okay, they're on fresh hards. Okay, gap to leader, 36.4 seconds. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now. Okay, our main competitors in this race are Hamilton and Sainz. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 4.2 seconds. That's a new fastest lap of the race. Gap to the car behind by a few seconds per lap. Keep it up. Nine laps of fuel to go, 9 laps left. to the car in front is 15.1 seconds. Fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. Okay, gap ahead is 13.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Okay, their tyres are more than 30 laps old. Your last lap time was a 1:39.9. You're closing in by 3 seconds a lap. Behind is 5.2 seconds. Is ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 11.9 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Car behind is Lewis. And the gap behind us is 6.0 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Our gap to first place is 25.1 seconds. Look after these tyres now and you want to finish the race on this compound. Okay, just 5 laps until the end. Us with 5 laps of fuel remaining, 5 laps of fuel left. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 10.3 seconds. Right, we've got enough fuel for 3 more laps. To the car in front is 5.1 seconds. Slow down before hitting the corners, we don't want to get a penalty. Okay, we've been given a time penalty. It will go against our finishing time at the end of the race. Get your head down and let's get it done. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining. Mate, really well done. That was a fantastic
drive. So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. So, Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think they're
Red Bull put up a... So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a...